Right, we're going to get started here in this headliner on a 2003 Chevy pickup crew cab. These are a little tough because the console's here. If you didn't have the console, or if you're willing to take that thing out, which I don't think I'm willing to, how hard it is from here, but having the seats out really is nice. So it's gonna be tough to fit out the hole here. It comes out the passenger door. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and start, and the first thing we want to do is take off all of these things here. They just kind of need something to pry in there. So these here have these kind of clips. What I found is if you grab both sides of it at the same time and pull straight out, chances are you're not going to break them, but there is a possibility. So I don't see any other way to do it other than that. So anyway, both hands. Like I said, it's a little what if. These ones both broke. It's supposed to pull straight out, but it doesn't always work. 310s. I didn't have my little tool with me, but you just slide these things over. You didn't even see that. These little things here, you just slide it over until it gets to the bigger area. Might even be easier to do that while it's out. That's all I was gonna do, but you just slide it over a little bit like that. It was over here before, and that is what allows you to get that little thing over that clip. It's like a little bit wider right there. You'll see when you get it out. These come out with a T15, just one screw, yank on a little bit, comes right out. There's two of them, one for each side. Same thing here, T15. I can get it in there with my left hand. I think it was T15. I looked up in there. Maybe somebody changed that one. Maybe they're Phillips. Yep, it was T15. Just gotta take them all out. All three on both sides. Get the visors. They just pull right out after this. And this one here, for that, should be a Phillips. I don't know if mine's long enough. Got my long one on my other one. I'll get that off, and then that just kind of, I think, pushes forward and then pops out of there. It doesn't push forward, it just pulls straight down with these clips. Some of them have the other clips where they slide forward, so keep that in mind. You might have to pull on it. And undo the wires. That's self-explanatory, I hope. Unplug those. Fortunately, I didn't get to show you guys taking out those two plugs. Pretty simple. Just use your little plug tool and take it out. One of these little pickle fork things. Just grab it and pull it out. These here have the same kind of clips on both sides. Two hands. Pull it straight. That's what I did. Again, if it breaks, don't call me. You know, this is all you. I'm just showing you how I'm doing it. You do it however you want. You want to get in there and try and catch a screwdriver behind that thing. I already tried, couldn't get in there, but if you maybe got better than me at it, you can try doing what you want to do. This one, there's some sort of a clip right in the middle. I don't know if I broke it or not. I'll have to look at it when I get it out. But there's also on the sides, there's Velcro strips and squares along there. This one here, you got to kind of wiggle this thing out of here and be careful of your tweeter wires if you've got a Bose system. Oh yeah, then there's the mirror wires. You can see those. I was hung up on something on that side. I guess it just, I don't know, I guess it's just these little things here were old. But now you can kind of see where this goes. So this goes to the wider section here. See, you're sliding it from, it's slidden over here, and you can slide it over that way, like this one. It's not that easy to slide. A little bit, it can be now. And then you get your handle out. So that's, I figured I would wait for that to get it out of there. I gotta figure out the wiring situation on the mirror. It's got electronic stuff on that. It probably unplugs up further, and then that should be the only thing holding this thing in. So I'm gonna leave the pillars on in the back and slide it forward. And then when I put it back in, I'm going to slide it back over those back pillars, because the back pillars look like they'll be in the way. That's why I took these ones all the way out on the sides. Take those all the way out. It's just easier to me. I don't know. I've never done one of these, so I've done other headliners. So anyway, this one's a little different. They're all the same, pretty much. And it goes out this door here. Now, I don't know if I'm going to need to take out that console, because it's going to be tight. I have to flip it all the way around this way, all the way around that way somehow, and get it over the top of that and then out the door. I don't know, this thing doesn't seem that flexible. We'll find out shortly. I figured it was easier to take the mirror off. Just a little plastic cover right here comes off, and there's that another T15 behind there, one screw, and if it looks familiar to you, it just lifts off of there. So pretty easy. But I'm gonna figure that out once I get it down. Maybe I'll take the harness out and leave the mirror inside, but definitely will be easier to do with it hanging right here. Just got to be careful not to break it. All right, so the microphone right here, I just unsnapped that feller. And then the little lens is going to come off with 4 clips there. I was afraid to pry on it, because of course I'm glad I was, because I don't know if it's going to like being pried on from underneath with those little clips. You see those clips there? With these little fellers here. So gotta be careful with this stuff. It's pretty old. Trying not to break too much stuff. It's kind of expensive to replace it all. So these things, this thing comes off this way. Now it looks to me like I got a couple options here. Might have to pull the fuse panel and unplug this plug wherever it plugs in, because there's a whole harness glued to the headliner. So yeah, I don't think I want to unglue all that. It'd be a lot of work. I'm probably going to have to pull this off, pull all these out. There's a tool I got for that. This thing here works a whole lot better than that, but it's not really the best tool. I got a metal one too, but anyway, looks like the tweeter might have to come off. It's pretty connected in there. I see it going that way too, so that's not good. It might be easier to remove this thing from the headliner and re-glue it back down. Yeah, I suppose. And that goes all the way to the rear brake light back there. And it looks to me like this thing's pretty involved right here. I kind of see it going 2 different directions. It's wiring off. So we could go in here and look. But I think I have to remove the whole fuse panel out. It's funny, I never saw this in another video. Some other guy had a video on it, but he didn't show where to disconnect it. Oh, looky there. It looks like it goes. Oh, there's a plug maybe down here. No, it goes all the way down. It goes down, plugs in the firewall, feels like. But that's the wiring right there for all that. Where does it go? Let's get you under here. You really like to work. Looks like that might be it right there. Might be that one. Plugs in right there. Looks like lovely. A little more fun than I expected. So let's figure this out. I'll get back to you. It's on. It looks to me like you got two plugs here. One right there, which I can't get very easily. And the one above it. Those two got to come out and then pull the harness up all the way through here, fish it back up in through here. I thought I saw something else down there moving. I saw another Y off of there going to the right. I can't see where it ends up. I can feel it. Let's try unplugging it and see what happens. Okay, I'll get that out of there. My fancy tool here. I think they work pretty good. Got a couple more of these to do too. And then we'll get it back out. Well, after an executive management decision, I decided just to pull the wires off the headliner. Versus, if it wasn't for this little Y right here, it probably goes over to the light sensor on the dash over there is what I'm thinking. So you have to pull the whole dash out to get it out of there. So I think it's easier to go ahead and just do it this direction here. Now I just got to get the headliner out, which is a little tricky. Like I said, you got to get it out that side. And this thing doesn't feel like it's going to flex really much at all. So I might have to take out the console. But I'm going to try to do without it. Let's see if I can do it. I'll bring you back in. So I'm working on this here. Of course, you're going to bend this a little bit. If you don't want to do that, you better take the console out. I'm just going to let her bend a little bit, getting it out of here, bend a little bit, going back in, and then I'll just live with whatever happens, because I don't want to do all that extra work just for a headliner. You pretty much aren't going to be able to see anyway. I need to replace some Velcro that came off here. Some new sticky on there, and then what that was that broke back here was this thing here. Did not want to come loose, so there was no other way other than sacrifice it and fix it. So I'm gonna have to do that. Anyway, looks like I can get it out. I'm gonna have to kink it a little bit right there. And with the headliner on, new headliner on, you shouldn't be able to see that. But like I said, if you want it to be like perfect and all that, you know, take the console, all the seats out, front and rear, and then maybe you can get it out this hole without damaging it. maybe. All right, so she flexed up a bit here. Didn't do too much over here. I guess it cracked some of this in the back to get it out that way. Little kinkage going on there. Like I said, by the time the headliner's on it, like, I don't even know why. I don't think I'm ever going to put these back in here. I don't think it's really necessary. Probably just something they did in the manufacturing process to make it easier when they have all the glass out. It's probably when they put the headliner in, right? Just slide it right in the windshield. Be a whole lot easier than what we just did. So anyway, this is the bottom side. Just trying to show you guys what damage was done. Of course, there's going to be some, and most of that's going to get tucked underneath. Like a little, these corners got kind of butchered a little, and this stuff here. But like I said, that's the stuff I'll live with. And if you want to do it the quote-unquote right way, you can pull all the seats, every single one of them, the front and the rear, and they're not fun to take out because the seat belts connect to the ones in the front. Well, you got to pull the front ones out anyway, but I jockeyed them around. I just flipped them down, did part of it, flipped it back up, did part of it, you know, just worked them around a bunch of times and left them in place, the back ones. And then I couldn't show you all that stuff, but then I went ahead and didn't take the console out. If I took the console and the other thing out, I could take it out at a different angle. You could take it out going like this right here. You can have it going that angle, but you still have to kind of bend it around the corner, because like I said, when they put these in, they had the windshield out, put them in the front. So that's how they did it in the factory. So you're trying to do something different, you can only get so good at it, and your time is worth money. So you're going to take all that out. You go into a cheap upholstery guy and he doesn't remove that thing, and you get a little kink or something, don't yell at him. Just go to the more expensive guy. Pay. That's how you do that kind of thing. You don't bitch at the cheap guy because he did a cheap job. If you go to the really, really expensive guy, then tell him, I want my console taken out. I want all this so that you don't bend anything. And you pay for it. Find out what the bill is when you get it. All right, we just got to yank off all the old ones. We got to prep this whole thing, because this, you put glue on this and it ain't gonna stick. You got to get all that off of there, all that old foam. It's got to come off. No. Yes. If you use one of these things, you're going to damage the crap out of it. This thing doesn't do too bad. But it does kind of mess with the, there's like a fiber cloth on here. I don't know. I've never seen this before. So I'm not sure if I should remove that. No, that's got to stay. So I'm going to have to glue this part. There's a lot of it that's hanging loose. I have to glue all that back down, because that's part of what makes this thing strong. So get your safety glasses out. Spend 20 minutes and try and not mess. As I could see, I could kind of grind through it with that, even with that. But I'll just be real light with it. It should come off, no problem. And then I'll just glue this fiber stuff back down and clamp it in place a little bit and let it dry. Alright, well, it did get a little bit of damage, and not too bad, but a lot of time saved. Unless I want to do it all like this, I bet you anything I'd still damage it using this thing. But this is another way to do it. You can do the whole thing like this, but the flat areas that non-woven wire brush, I think, is pretty good. I didn't push on it at all. I just like held it above it just barely and just let it graze it, and that's it. You got to be pretty good with one of those tools. If you're not pretty good with one of those tools, then better just stick to this way right here. It'll take a good 2 hours to clean it all off. Just wire brush it all off. I'll do all the rest of it with this, all the little corners and edges and all that. I didn't want to do the whole big part of it. Like I said, probably damaged mine a little bit getting it out, but I'm looking for shortcuts. I'm not looking to spend 2 or 3 days to do this job. I want to get it done so I can get on to other things. Got plenty of them to do. Maybe you're like me, maybe not. I'm just telling you, ahead in advance, you got to pull all that stuff out of there if you want to do a perfect, you know, Mr. Joe perfect job. You have to pull all the center console and the back seat out. All right, as we continue on here, I did find it to be much easier to use that brush on the thing, even though, yeah, I did get a little crazy right here. A couple spots. On the flat areas, it's really easy to use without damaging it if you use the non-twisted version of that. Like I told you, no and yes. Okay? Or you can do it all by hand if you really, you know, are worried. Whatever. So I'm doing that. Like I said, this is how I do it. Y'all do it how you want. Do it at your own risk. But I would definitely use that tool again if I did this again. And all I'm going to do is just, you know, I could do a few different things. What I'll probably do is, quickest, easiest way is I have some flexible filler. And I'll just throw a little of that. It'll stick. This is fiberglass. It's a weird fiberglass that's still soft and pliable. I don't know. So if I put resin on there, I could do that too. And then the glue will stick just fine to that. Do whatever you want to do. But you could use a flexible filler, I believe, on that as well. Like body filler for bumpers and stuff like that. I think I bought some of that. But anyway, the rest of this I'll do by hand. And I'll bring you back in. Because you're going to want to see how I put the cloth on. A lot of guys will glue the whole thing. You don't want to do that. You want to put the cloth on first and then glue it. Flip it over, do half at a time. Because if you try and do it that way, you'll put the cloth on, you'll get it crooked, and you can't straighten it. Once you put that stuff on, it's on. It doesn't come back off. It goes on once. So anyway. And we'll get this thing back in there, take a look at it when I'm all done. But anyway, I still got to get all the rest of this stuff off of here. It's all got to come off. Cleaner the better. Fun stuff. Okay, mine has this problem in a few places where it's kind of lifted up. So I'll show you what I'm going to use on that. It's like all the way along here, a little bit in this corner. This fiberglass is kind of, I don't know, this is a really neat looking sheet. I don't know what this stuff is. I tried to look and see if I could buy it. I need to replace it all or something, but just to see, but I couldn't find it anywhere. But I'm going to use a different adhesive on this. You could use, I've seen some guys, I've bought the 3M stuff, and I don't know. This one's good. They have some others. The Weldwood 4 commercial grade interior is good. There's another Weldwood one that's not. Okay, it's got to be from an upholstery supply. It's the only place you want to buy this stuff. This is from an upholstery supply. This one's a really good adhesive. You could spray this on and do the whole thing with this if you wanted to, but I think it's better if you go to a further extreme. if you don't put enough glue on here, the headliner is going to come down after about 6 months or so in the heat, especially if you're in Southern California or in the desert. You're going to have an issue if you don't use the right glue. So just so you know, you got to use really good glue. This here is the correct stuff. If you live in California and you need it, good luck. The governor thinks that, you know, we don't need this kind of stuff. They don't know anything about this trade. This is what you need. You need this good glue. You just, a lot of places will say they don't have it, but they might. Let me just put it that way. They're not allowed to sell it. So, you know, if it's done through the back door or some crap like that, that's what you got to deal with if you live in California. Or just drive to another state and go pick it up. That's just what you need. This here glue, you put this down, you could use a Slim Jim roller to put it down, and this stuff adheres. You put down this stuff and it's on there. The only stuff I would use is this. Recommend. Anything else, any spray glues, it's a crapshoot. The only ones I would use are the ones like this one that you can get in an upholstery supply. They have a weldwood that has a label similar to this. I mean, I don't think it's a blue, but I don't know if that one's not available in California either. I mean, there's a lot of them outlawed, so they don't care about upholstery trade people. They don't care about paint and body people in the state of California. They just want to make rules, and they don't give a rip about us. So if you keep voting for them, that's what we're going to have. Anyway, people get mad when I say that stuff, but that's the honest to God truth. Trying to get classic cars off the road. You know, they're evaluating right now emissions on classic cars to see if, you know, they have a significant impact, and so that they can have cities that decide whether they can have you drive your classic car. Honestly, it's already happening. So keep voting that way. We'll keep having more problems. I'll be all upset because I say political stuff, but listen, it's just the way it is. So anyway, they're taking everything they can off the shelf. They don't give a rip about people that want to save a classic car. So anyway, this stuff right here is what I'm going to use to hold this down. Also, on the other side where I've got Velcro pieces that are missing, I've also got in the back this little perch right here that came off. I'm going to put Velcro on that and put this stuff to hold it on. This is a little bit stronger glue than that is. So you got to be kind of liberal with it. And you couldn't use this to put on the whole headliner. It's, you know, you need 100 tubes of these, something like that. I wouldn't use it anyway for that. But that stuff's really good, and it's the only thing really you can use. So anyway, I'll put this down with this, and then I'm going to get some resin. I'm just thinking about it. I'll probably just use resin on here and throw a little bit of fiberglass cloth over it because I've got some. And over these couple areas, just throw a little over that. I don't want to do too much fiberglass to this because I've got to tweak the hell out of it to get it back in there. So anyway, just the way it is. I'm not going to take that whole interior apart. No, no, no. Too much work. Just going to say this real quick. When you've been doing something your whole life and somebody tells you that the products you've been using you can't buy anymore, and they've got new ones that don't work, you're going to be pissed off too. Okay, you're going to be the point where I'm at, where I'm just done with it. Okay, so when that's affected you that way, you're going to have different feelings about politics then. That's why I am. I listen, I'm not a right-wing guy. I'm not into that crazy crap that's going on in Texas. Okay, but I am real about stuff that works and stuff that doesn't. And the stuff they have available in California does not work. Just saying. So anyway, I'm going to move on with this. The next thing I did is put the resin on. I'm not going to sand this or anything. I'm just going to let, you know, maybe knock down some of the hairs or whatever. That's it. They're sticking up. I'm going to go over it. You probably could have just gone over this with the way it was and just put the glue down and just went with it. Probably be fine. But that's how I'm doing it. So anyway. I'm gonna when I did the resin, whatever it says in the directions, I double or triple that for the hardener, because I've put in a ton of this stuff because I want it to set up pretty quickly, and I'm not worried about it cracking or anything later on. You know, that's the issues if you over catalyze stuff, any paint product or anything like that, you over catalyze it. You put in a lot more catalyst, it's going to make it more brittle. I'm not worried about it on this headliner at all, so because it's just little patches, you know. And some things you might be worried about that and you want it to dry a little slower. That's up to you. But I went for the super fast rapid patch setup, and then I'm going to go ahead and start gluing this down so I can get it back in the truck today. So I got all my repairs done. They're all drying right now. They're all dry, just barely to touch. Didn't take very long for them to dry. But anyway, I've got this thing is about as even as I can get it, so that I've got enough overlap on each side, because remember, it's not smooth. By the time I start in the middle, come out, it could move a little bit, and you want to make sure you got plenty of material hanging over the edge all the way around, so that, you know, it makes up. And so center it really good. Take your time, make sure it's really well centered. That's what I do. So anyway, then I'll do this. I'll flip it upside down, front or the back, whichever way you feel comfortable with. I'll flip it over in half. I always flip it over like this, and I tell you, this is the only way. Somebody don't want to put the glue on yet. This is, flip it over now, and then you put the glue on. Don't put the glue on until you got your material laid out. If you do it ahead of time, let the glue completely dry, and then get two people and put the cloth, hang it up, and hold it evenly over it, and then drop it down slowly. Maybe that'll work, but you know, you're gonna need two people. I don't have two people, so I got to make sure I do it the right way. So anyway, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my glue on. So after I got it all evenly set, put my glue on. I'm going to do one half at a time. So I'm going to do this half. I'm going to go from the middle and go out after I get the glue on. So we'll go ahead and get that on there. I'm going to use I think I've got enough of the glue in the big gallon can. And all we're going to do, you can use a spray gun if you want. It's really kind of hard to clean that stuff out of a spray gun. The old stuff used to be better for that. And the old lacquer thinners they had years ago, you could clean them out of the guns a lot easier. The new acetone stuff, it's really hard to clean the gun out, so I don't like to use a spray gun. So that's why I got spray cans. It's a pain in the butt. I'd rather have the spray gun. The old style was much easier. But this does work. I mean, a lot of stuff, like I said, they do stuff in the state of California that does not work at all. That does not work. And we're supposed to use it. You can't. So, can't make laws like that. Can't keep having a government that does that to us. Now you wonder why I got the spray cans. Because you got to glue both sides of it. Nice even glue. Wherever there's glue, no glue, it ain't gonna stick. So remember that. Get it all over it. You could use these spray cans by themselves. It usually will work, but it works a little bit better with the other. It's a little more insurance that it's going to stay down. Especially when you roll the glue on like that. Now, as soon as this stuff touches that material, that glue, it is on there. You are not moving it. So you've got to start in the middle and work your way out. And just push it down with your palm of your hand. Get it real nice and even as you go, because as soon as it touches it, it's over. You get one chance. This is an old spray can I had. I didn't go through a whole can like that. It's gonna, you know, I got 2 cans just in case my glue wasn't any good. I didn't know if that glue was hardened up in the can. It hardens up not long after, and it's not cheap for one of those cans of glue. If this is even going to show up in the videos, but you can see these little fine ripples in there. You could probably get that out after you put it in with the steamer, or it should just go away after a little bit of time in the sun. I'm not worried about it because I don't look up very often. I just look up and see it hanging down on me, and I want to fix it, so that's why I'm doing mine. But anyway, if you're picky enough for that, you could probably get one of these little steamers. And I like to do it after it's in, stretching stuff. I did, and you can see, like right here, I did a little bit right there and a little bit right there. And I did just a little bit over there, but it's not dry yet. But you can see when it's starting to dry out, it's smoothing it out. So it probably would work. I'm not going to worry about it because, like I said, after 6 months, it's in there. All this is gone. You don't see it. So anyway. All right. So let's flip it over. I like to cut back about 1 inch or so away, and on that I'll just use spray glue, because once it's up in there, it's more difficult for that to come down. You can brush it onto the other stuff if that's all you bought. A little bit close here. Maybe I could go 1.5 inches or so, because see, once you wrap it, it only goes to about right there. So you might want to take it in a little further. Anyway, I'll let that kind of dry. The glue has to kind of dry first. Like I got a little bit close right there. You see what I mean? Right there. Didn't quite go far enough. So it's better to be a little too long than too short. Doesn't really matter much. You don't see it, but you know, the corners, I cut the inside corners back just a little bit like that. You know, if you can see that. Kind of back just a little bit, and then just kind of wrap them. These ones I'll just cut off. Just cut them off like that. Don't really see it much. Anyway, that's how I do it. Do this part however you want. Maybe 2 inches, 1.5 inches. I probably cut a little bit short. Again, like I said, it'll work. Some of the areas where it's a little tighter than others, like this one, got a little too close, so I do a little section first, so I didn't do the whole thing. Do a little section, and then try it and see if it works how I like it, and then don't do the whole thing. Need some more glue on there. I don't think I glued that. Sometimes the glue gets a little too dry and you have to re-wet it, and then once you re-wet it, it sticks really good. Or it's too wet, it sticks, doesn't stick at all either. So it's kind of a balancing act. You keep the glue just right, not too sticky, not too dry. Kind of a balancing act. And then we'll just cut this. This gets covered up, the corners anyway. Anyway, go all the way around, do all that. And then the other thing I'm going to do here is, you see here, there's one of these is missing, so I'll use some of that 3M. I'll put new glue on there, 3M adhesive on there, that really good stuff, and put them on with that, the Velcro, so they'll stay on forever. Cut out all my things the same way. We'll see it in a minute. All right, the headliner is almost all the way in. Those clips over there, if you ever get some butyl tape, stuff's amazing. I just put double stack butyl tape on there. It's sticky, it stays sticky all the time. It never completely dries. And it's the same stuff they use to hold on the plastic things on your door panel, all that stuff. Get some butyl tape, does some wonders. It's held that thing on there. It's going to stay. It's not going to move. That is a great way to use it. It's like, I don't know if you've seen it. It's basically like black tar. It's kind of thick. I sell it on Amazon. Maybe I'll put a link in there for you. But have some of this stuff around for a lot of things like that. You can put that on there, and it's all sticky, and it's almost like using silicone. But when you put it in place, it just stays there and it won't move, and it kind of goes into all the cracks, and it's super sticky. Eventually it kind of dries a little bit, but not really. It's not like completely dry. It's kind of like that Permatex stuff, #2, but like really thick. So anyway, it looks pretty good. I'm going to say we're just finishing up right now. I'm going to go ahead and call the end of the video here. Literally everything's going in really nice. Shouldn't be any problems other than when I broke the clip, taking that one off, it just snapped. It was, it's going to happen on some. I got to get those things lined up. I'm going to use a little screwdriver, find the hole, make sure I can find out which angle I need to put it in at, because they're not just lining right up. So that you just put a screwdriver in the hole first and just kind of feel around. You can kind of feel better with that, and then put the plastic clips in there and shove them in. Done. I put the Velcro on. That kind of holds it in place while you're putting the sides on. Really easy to put back in. And getting it in through here, and you can notice I basically folded the thing in half, and you really can't see anything. So maybe not be fearful of that, and just go for it and don't worry about it. And you don't look up that much anyway. As long as that thing's not hanging down in your hair, that usually bugs you the most. So anyway. Alright, that's it for this one, guys. I'll talk to you in the next one. Please like, share, and subscribe. See your comments, and hopefully you enjoyed the video.